The vanishing ship, the patrol ship Iron Spear, moved slowly through the empty star system. Its crew was tired. For weeks they had scanned empty skies looking for smugglers or rebels. Nothing ever happened here. The stars were silent. Commander Rylith sat in his chair, bored. He looked at the endless black on the main screen. Same as always, he muttered. No life, no ships, no threat. The crew almost believed him until the alarm began to scream. Contact. The sensor officer shouted. Unknown vessel. Dead center, right in front of us. The bridge filled with noise. Lights flashed red. Everyone jumped to their stations. Rylith stood quickly. Show me. And then it appeared. On the screen, a massive dark shape emerged from nothing. One moment the space was empty. The next moment, there it was. A ship larger than any Imperial warship. Its surface was strange, black and silver, shifting like smoke. No lights, no signals, no markings of any empire. The crew stared in silence. The ship made no move. It only existed, huge and quiet, as if the stars themselves had shaped it. Where? Where did it come from? Whispered the helmsman. Impossible, the sensor officer said. No jump signature. No warp trail, it just appeared. Rylith felt his skin crawl. He was a soldier of the Empire. He had faced pirates, rebels, and alien fleets. But this was something new. Lock scanners on it, he ordered. I want every detail, the scanners hummed. Then the officer gasped. Commander, it's not working. Our scans can't read the surface. It's like the ship is swallowing the signals. Fire a probe, Rylith said quickly. A small probe shot forward, moving closer to the dark vessel. For a moment it seemed normal. The probe transmitted simple data, distance, energy levels, mass. But halfway there, the transmission cut off. Probe lost, said the officer. His voice was shaking now. On the screen, the strange ship suddenly moved. Not like normal ships. Not with engines. 1 second it was far away. The next second it was close. Terrifyingly close, the crew gasped. Some cried out. The ship was now so near that its surface filled the screen. Black, endless, like the mouth of a giant beast, back us away. Rylith shouted, engines roared. The Iron Spear turned hard, pulling back. But the unknown vessel did not attack. It did not fire weapons. It only floated there, silent and heavy, as if it was watching. Commander, the communications officer whispered. It is scanning us. How do you know? Rylith asked. I don't, I just feel it. Rylith wanted to curse. He wanted to order weapons to fire. But his instinct screamed, do not shoot. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the ship was gone. One blink, and the black surface filled the screen. The next blink, nothing. Only stars again. Empty space. The alarms kept ringing, but there was nothing left to see. The strange vessel had vanished as if it never existed. Silence returned to the bridge. Only the crew's heavy breathing remained. What was that? Whispered the helmsman. Rylith sat back slowly. His hands were shaking, though he tried to hide it. I don't know, he said. But the Empire will want to hear this. The crew replayed the sensor logs. Only a few fragments remained. Static, broken signals, shadows of the massive ship, and one set of coordinates where the ship had first appeared. The officers stared at the numbers. They were impossible, unbelievable. The coordinates pointed far across space, toward the border of human territory. The bridge grew colder. Everyone understood the meaning. If this strange vessel belonged to humans, then everything the Empire believed was wrong. Rylith stood again, his voice hard but low. Send the report to High Command immediately and tell them. We saw something the Empire cannot explain. The crew obeyed, but fear filled their eyes. No one spoke of it, but each of them thought the same thing. If the humans had built such a ship, then the Empire was no longer the strongest power in the galaxy. That night, while the Iron Spear drifted in silence, every crew member dreamed of the same thing. A black ship appearing out of nothing, swallowing stars and vanishing again. A ghost. A warning. And deep inside the Empire, the report traveled fast, moving from officer to officer until it reached the Emperor's private chamber. He read it in silence. His eyes narrowed. Impossible, he whispered. No human could make this. But even he could not hide the shiver that ran down his spine. Somewhere in the dark, far from Imperial control, humanity was hiding something. Something the Empire had never seen before. The unknown vessel had appeared once, it would appear again, and when it did, The galaxy would change forever. Whispers in the Empire. The Emperor's council chamber was silent. It was a silence filled with fear. High Command had just received the report from the patrol ship Iron Spear. Officers, nobles, and scientists sat around the long black table. Their faces were pale. Some tried to look calm, but their eyes betrayed them. On the screen above the table, the last image from the Iron Spear flickered. An enormous, dark vessel, impossible in size, strange in design, and then gone. No one spoke for a long time. The sound of the Emperor's golden staff tapping against the floor broke the silence. "Explain," the Emperor commanded. His voice was soft, but every officer felt it pressed down like a blade. Admiral Sarath, an old man with sharp eyes, stood. "Your Majesty, our ship saw it appear from nowhere. No engines, no drive wake. One moment space was empty. The next it was there. Then without warning it vanished. Not even our best sensors could track it." He paused, his throat dry. "The only clue? The coordinates point toward human space." The council erupted in whispers. Some officers laughed nervously, others cursed. The word human spread across the chamber like poison. One noble slammed his hand on the table. "Impossible. Humans are weak. They are traders, miners, settlers. They barely defend their colonies. How could they build such a ship?" A younger officer leaned forward, his voice sharp. "What if they found something? An ancient machine? A relic from a forgotten race?" "No," Sarath said firmly. "The energy signature. It was new, not old. It felt alive." The Emperor raised his hand and silence fell again. His eyes were cold, fixed on the screen. "Humans," he whispered, as if testing the word. Meanwhile, far from the palace, rumors were spreading fast. In the military barracks, soldiers whispered over their meals. "Did you hear? The humans have a ghost ship." In the markets, merchants told frightened stories to their customers. They say the ship swallowed an entire fleet and vanished. And in the dark alleys, spies traded secret notes. The humans are testing forbidden drives. The Empire thrived on fear, but this fear was different. It was not fear of rebels or pirates or taxes. It was fear of the unknown. Inside the Intelligence Bureau, Agent Velra listened to the chatter. She was small, quiet, with eyes that missed nothing. For years she had studied human colonies. She knew their strengths and weaknesses. She knew their leaders, their culture, their ships, but this was not in her reports. Her superior asked her directly, "What do you know of this ghost vessel?" Velra hesitated. "I know the humans have been secretive. They avoid showing their new ships. They protect their asteroid bases. I believe they are hiding something." The superior frowned. "Something big enough to frighten the Emperor?" Velra nodded. "Yes, I believe they call it the slipstream, a drive that folds space instead of crossing it. If it is real, then the humans can appear anywhere, anytime." The superior's face darkened. "If what you say is true, then humanity is no longer prey. They are hunters." Back in the Emperor's chamber, the council debated. One faction demanded war. Strike now, crush their colonies, burn their fleets, before they finish whatever monster they are building. Another faction urged caution. "No, Majesty. If we attack and fail, the galaxy will see us as weak. Already the other races watch us. They wait for us to stumble." The Emperor listened without emotion. His staff tapped against the floor again. "Enough. The humans will not be underestimated. They will be tested." He turned to Admiral Sarath. "Send a covert fleet. Small, silent. Let them enter human space. Let them find the truth." Sarath bowed. "It will be done." Days later, in the cold dark of space, the covert fleet slipped across the border. Dozens of sleek ships cloaked and armed. Moving like shadows, the fleet commander sent a message back. "We will discover their secret." Hours passed. Silence. Then, one by one, the ships began to send distress signals. Static, broken voices, fragments of screams. "When they're here, impossible movement, vanishing around us," and then, nothing. The entire covert fleet was gone. All that returned were broken signals and the drifting wreckage of scout ships. No sign of the enemy. No sign of a battle, just destruction. When the Emperor saw the report, he clenched his staff until his knuckles turned white. His voice was low, heavy with anger. "The humans have ghosts in the dark," he said, "and they are laughing at us." That night, whispers spread faster than ever. Some claimed the humans had made a pact with gods. Others swore the vessel was not human at all, but something older. Something terrible that humans had awoken. And in the shadows of the palace, spies carried secret messages to rival alien empires. The humans have something new, something the Empire cannot stop. The galaxy had begun to tremble. But in the heart of human space, inside a hidden asteroid base, strange blueprints glowed. Men and women studied them with quiet pride. They did not yet know how much fear they had created. They only knew one thing. The slipstream worked. The human secret far from the shining worlds of the Empire, hidden inside a hollowed asteroid. A secret base pulsed with life. Its outside looked like cold rock drifting in darkness. But inside, humans worked day and night, building something no empire dared imagine. The base commander, Captain Elias Ward, walked through the long steel corridors. Everywhere he looked, engineers, pilots, and scientists moved with quiet purpose. They spoke little, their eyes fixed on glowing screens and humming machines. In the central hangar, the heart of their secret waited, a sleek black vessel resting on the deck, its surface alive with faint blue light. It was not like other human ships. It was smoother, stranger, as if grown instead of built. Ward stopped in front of it. Even after months of testing, he still felt awe every time he saw it. The Slipstream. Humanity's first ship that could fold space. Dr. Mara Kessler, chief scientist of the project, joined him. Her lab coat was covered in grease and glowing dust. She smiled, tired but proud. "It worked," she said softly. "The iron spear saw us." The Empire panicked. "That means the drive is real," Ward frowned. "The Empire will not panic for long. They will send fleets. They will search every shadow for us." "That is why we must stay hidden," Mara replied. "The Slipstream is not ready for war. It is fragile. It needs more tests." Ward looked at the ship again. Its black surface shimmered, bending light in strange ways. Fragile or not, it already frightened the strongest empire in the galaxy. In another chamber, a group of pilots trained with neural links. They sat in chairs with helmets covering their heads, eyes closed, bodies tense. They were not flying ordinary ships. The Slipstream did not have a normal control system. It connected directly to the human brain. A captain did not steer the vessel with hands or buttons. He thought, and the ship responded. One young pilot, Lieutenant Asha Moreno, gasped as the training ended. She pulled off her helmet, her face pale with sweat. "It feels alive," she whispered. "Like it listens, like it understands me." The instructor nodded grimly. "It does. The Slipstream is not just metal. It is part machine, part living code. Once you bond with it, you are never truly separate." Asha shivered. She was not afraid, but she knew this was more than flying. This was a partnership with something beyond human science. Late that night, the leaders of the project gathered in the command room. Screens showed maps of the galaxy, dotted with Imperial patrol routes. Ward spoke first. "The Emperor will not rest until he knows the truth." Already they sent a covert fleet. Already those ships are gone. An officer asked, "Do we know what happened to them?" Mara shook her head. "We tested the Slipstream's defenses. The drive bends space around us. Enemy ships were caught in the fold and torn apart. We did not fire a single weapon. The space itself killed them." The room went silent. Everyone understood. This technology was more dangerous than any gun. Ward's voice was heavy. "We must decide. Do we reveal our power, or do we keep hiding?" While the humans debated, Imperial spies crept closer. In the shadows of nearby systems, cloaked probes recorded fragments of data. They caught glimpses of strange energy spikes, whispers of folded space. None of it made sense to their scientists, but they knew one thing: humanity had a secret worth killing for. Back in the asteroid base, Asha prepared for her first real mission. She stood before the Slipstream vessel, her hands trembling with excitement and fear. Ward placed a hand on her shoulder. "Remember, the ship will feel what you feel. Keep calm, do not fight it. Trust it." She nodded. "Where am I going?" "Only a test run. Appear inside an empty system. Stay 3 seconds, then vanish. Let the Empire see you again." Asha climbed aboard. The cockpit was silent, glowing with strange symbols. She closed her eyes, let her thoughts stretch outward, and the ship answered. In the command room, Ward and Mara watched as the vessel shimmered and then disappeared without a trace. Seconds later, a sensor officer gasped. "She's inside the edge of Imperial space, right above their border station." The humans held their breath. On the Imperial side, alarms rang. Officers screamed. A black vessel appeared above their station, silent and terrible, then vanished before weapons could lock. Asha's ship returned to the asteroid base as smoothly as it had left. She stepped out, her face pale but determined. "It worked," she said. "They saw me." Ward looked at Mara. "It's only a matter of time before they strike harder." Mara answered softly, "Then let them come. Every time they chase us, every time they fail, their fear will grow. Fear is our shield, until we are ready." In the Imperial Palace, reports poured in of the second sighting. The Emperor stood before his council, his voice colder than the void. "Humans now appear in our space like shadows," he said. "If we do not break them soon, the galaxy will think we are weak." He raised his staff. "Prepare the armada. The humans will not hide forever." Back in the asteroid base, Ward looked once more at the slipstream ship. He whispered to himself, "The Empire thinks we are prey. Soon they will learn. Humans are hunters." The Empire strikes. The black sky above the Imperial shipyard glowed with fire. Row after row of warships stood ready. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers, each one armed with weapons enough to shatter planets. The Emperor himself watched from his throne on the command deck of the Eternal Wrath, the largest battleship ever built. His voice echoed across the chamber. "The humans believe they can mock us. They appear in our space and vanish like ghosts. Today we remind the galaxy who rules the stars. Prepare the armada." The order spread like thunder. Engines roared. Millions of soldiers took their stations. The Empire was moving to war. In human space, the warning came late. Small colonies near the border saw strange signals. Farmers on quiet worlds looked up and saw stars shift as if swallowed by shadow. Children pointed, asking, "What is that?" Then the shadows moved closer. It was not night falling. It was the Imperial fleet. At the hidden asteroid base, alarms screamed. Captain Ward ran into the command chamber, where red lights pulsed. "Report." The sensor officer spoke quickly. "The Empire has launched a massive force. Thousands of ships. They're advancing across the border." Dr. Mara Kessler's face was pale. "They don't just want to watch us anymore. They want to crush us." Ward clenched his fists. "Then it begins." In the training hangar, slipstream pilots suited up. Lieutenant Asha Moreno stood with the others, her eyes fixed on her black vessel. The ship shimmered faintly, almost eager. She whispered, "Ready?" The ship's panels glowed in answer. The Empire's armada swept forward like a storm. Villages burned, stations were seized, small patrol craft were torn apart. Imperial commanders sent proud messages back to their Emperor. The humans scatter like rats. Soon their secret will be ours. But the humans did not scatter. They vanished. One Imperial fleet commander frowned as his scanners blinked empty. "Where are they?" he demanded. "We saw their colonies. Where are the ships?" Suddenly the screen flared. A black vessel appeared inside his formation, silent, watching. "Target lock," he screamed. But before weapons fired, the vessel slipped away, leaving confusion and fear. Then another appeared, and another. Across the armada, slipstream ships flickered into view, always too close, always vanishing before fire could reach them. It was not a battle. It was a game. The humans moved like phantoms. On board the Eternal Wrath, the Emperor's patience burned away. He slammed his staff on the floor. "Enough! Find them! Trap them!" His admirals obeyed, but the more they hunted, the less they caught. Human ships slipped between fleets, mocking the Empire with their silence. One daring slipstream vessel even appeared above an Imperial fuel depot. For 3 seconds it hovered over the tanks, enough for cameras to capture its black outline. Then it vanished, leaving the depot in chaos. The galaxy watched these recordings with wide eyes. On alien worlds, people whispered, "The humans can strike anywhere. Even the Empire is helpless." Back in the asteroid base, Ward and Mara studied the chaos through hidden relays. Ward's voice was heavy. "Every sighting weakens their power. The Emperor rules by fear. Now his people fear us." Mara did not smile. "But fear can turn to rage. The Empire will not stop. They will burn every world to find us." On the border, Asha led a small team of slipstream ships. They danced through Imperial formations, always visible for just long enough to be noticed. But during one maneuver, her ship shuddered. The slipstream drive screamed inside her mind. Asha gasped. "Something's wrong." Her wingmate shouted over comms, "They've set a trap. They predicted our fold." Imperial cruisers fired nets of energy across space, trying to pin the slipstream field. Asha's vessel twisted, ripping free, but her wingmate was caught. His ship folded halfway and then tore apart in a burst of white fire. Asha screamed, But the slipstream pulled her away before she could do anything. When she reappeared back at the base, she stumbled out of the cockpit, tears in her eyes. "They're learning," she whispered. "The Empire is learning how to fight us." That night, the asteroid base was quiet. Engineers worked in silence, pilots sat in the dark with haunted faces. Ward addressed them. "We knew this would happen. The Empire has endless ships, endless soldiers. We cannot fight them like a normal enemy. But we are not normal anymore. We have the slipstream, and we will use it until the last breath." His words gave courage, but fear lingered. Everyone knew the truth. If the Empire ever captured a slipstream vessel intact, everything would be lost. Slipstream vessel intact, everything would be lost. In the Imperial capital, the Emperor sat alone in his chamber, watching the recordings of the ghost ships. His advisors trembled before him, but he ignored them. For the first time in his reign, doubt touched his heart. The humans had shown him something worse than rebellion. They had shown him a future where the Empire was no longer feared. The Emperor whispered to the empty room, "If I cannot destroy them, then I must capture one." And across the stars, plans were made for a trap so vast, so dangerous, that even the slipstream might not escape. Fear in the capital. The Imperial capital had never known fear. Its towers touched the sky, its streets glowed with endless lights, and its people believed the Empire was eternal. No enemy had ever reached this world, until now. It began with a ripple. Sensors across the capital's defense grid screamed without warning. Officers stared at their screens in shock. Unknown vessel? Inside the system. Alarms echoed through the vast city. Sirens wailed in every district. Soldiers rushed to their posts. Families crowded into shelters, whispering prayers. On the palace balcony, the Emperor himself looked up at the night sky. There it was, above the clouds, a shadow against the stars. A black vessel, silent, watching. For 3 endless seconds it hovered over the palace. Its surface shimmered, bending the light of the towers below. And then, it vanished. The silence that followed was worse than the alarms. Panic swept the capital. The strongest world in the galaxy had been touched by an enemy no one could stop. Merchants closed their shops. Citizens locked their doors. Rumors spread like fire. The humans can appear anywhere. No wall protects us. The Emperor is powerless. In the Senate hall, nobles shouted in anger and fear. Some demanded total war. Others demanded peace. A few whispered of rebellion. One senator cried, "If humans can appear above our palace, then no world is safe. Not even this one." The chamber exploded into chaos. Inside the palace, the Emperor's war council gathered. Their voices were low, fearful. Admiral Sarath stood at attention. "Majesty, the people panic. They believe the humans can strike at will. Morale is collapsing." Another officer said, "Our fleets are strong, but they cannot fight ghosts. Every time we chase them, they are gone." The Emperor's face was stone. "Then we do not chase. We trap." He raised his golden staff. The room fell silent. "Bring me a slipstream ship alive," he commanded. "Not destroyed. Not broken. I want it whole. I want to see what secret hides inside." The trap was prepared in secret. Across the border, Imperial fleets spread bait. Unguarded stations. Convoys left to drift. Signals placed carefully where human scouts would see. And at the center of the bait, hidden weapons waited. Nets of folded energy, built to catch what no ship should catch. Lieutenant Asha Moreno led her slipstream vessel on patrol. She saw the unguarded convoy drifting too easily. Her instincts screamed trap, but orders were clear: test, observe, vanish. She guided the ship closer, her mind linked with its living core. The slipstream hummed nervously as if it too felt danger. "Easy," she whispered. "Just a quick look, then we leave." The convoy shimmered, then the trap snapped shut. Energy nets exploded across space, wrapping around her vessel. For the first time, the slipstream did not vanish. It twisted, screamed inside her mind, fought the fold, but the net held. Asha cried out, her body burning with pain as the ship strained. Then everything went white. When she awoke, the cockpit was cold. The slipstream was silent. The link inside her head was gone. She looked through the glass. Imperial warships surrounded her. Soldiers with armored suits approached, cutting their way into the vessel. She reached for controls, but they were dead. The ship would not answer. Her heart froze. No, don't leave me now. The door tore open. Imperial soldiers rushed in. Rough hands dragged her out, their voices harsh. The Emperor will want this prize. Behind her, the slipstream remained still, dark and quiet, as if lifeless. In the Imperial capital, the captured vessel was displayed deep inside a research chamber. Scientists swarmed around it, scanning, cutting, probing. It has no engines, one whispered. It has no fuel lines, another said. This is impossible. The Emperor himself entered, his eyes fixed on the black hull. He touched it with his hand. The surface was cold, yet it seemed to shift under his fingers. Open it, he ordered. The scientists obeyed. They found empty seats, cold consoles, strange humming panels. No sign of fuel, no sign of power. One scientist trembled. Majesty, it looks alive. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Alive? Before anyone could answer, the lights flickered. The ship pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. That night, alarms rang through the palace. Guards screamed. The captured slipstream had awakened. Its panels glowed. Its hull hummed. Imperial soldiers fired weapons at it, but the blasts bent away, swallowed by the surface. In the control chamber, scientists shouted, "It's powering itself." "It's trying to fold." The Emperor arrived, fury on his face. "Stop it!" But the ship ignored them. With a flash of light, it vanished, taking half the chamber with it. When the smoke cleared, only wreckage remained. The slipstream was gone. Whispers spread faster than fire. The people said, "The Emperor cannot hold them." Even captured, the human ghosts escape. The Empire bleeds fear. For the first time in centuries, the capital did not feel eternal. It felt fragile. Far away in human space, the slipstream reappeared at the asteroid base. Its hull was scarred, its glow faint, but it was home. Asha stumbled out alive, shaken but breathing. Ward caught her before she fell. "You brought it back," he said. She whispered, tears in her eyes. "It wasn't me. The ship saved itself." In the palace, the Emperor stood in silence. He had tried to capture the human secret. Instead, he had shown the galaxy his weakness. His whisper carried more rage than a scream. "If I cannot break them, then I will burn them." The truth revealed. The Imperial Palace was quiet after the disaster. Too quiet. The great halls, once filled with laughter and music, now echoed only with whispers. Soldiers spoke in hushed voices. Servants moved with nervous steps. Everyone feared the same thing, the ghost ship that had escaped. The Emperor sat alone in his chamber, staring at the scorched floor where the captured vessel had vanished. His eyes were dark with fury. For the first time in his reign, he had touched something he could not hold. "Summon the scientists," he said at last. "I want answers." In the lower labs, deep beneath the palace, the scientists gathered. Their faces were pale, their hands shaking. They had studied the wreckage left behind, the scraps of metal, the fragments of strange panels. One scientist spoke carefully. "Majesty, it was not a machine." The Emperor's gaze burned. "Explain," the scientist swallowed. "The slipstream is not built the way our ships are. It has no fuel, no core, no true engines. The material is—" "Alive," gasps filled the room. "Alive," the Emperor repeated slowly. "Yes, Majesty. It reacts to touch. It resists our scans. It even healed small cuts we made. We believe. The ship itself is a living organism, bonded to its human pilot. Without the pilot, it grows dormant. But with the pilot," the scientist stopped, trembling. "With the pilot, it becomes unstoppable." The Emperor dismissed them, but their words stayed in his mind. A living ship, a bond with its human captain. Not technology, but something greater, he whispered to himself. The humans have tamed a creature of the void. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the slipstream pilots felt the truth as well. Lieutenant Asha Moreno lay in the medical bay of the asteroid base. Her body still shook from the capture. Yet in her dreams, she felt the ship's presence. It spoke without words. It was not language, it was feeling. It told her, "We are one." When she awoke, her first words were a whisper. "The ship saved me, because it knew I needed saving." Dr. Mara Kessler sat at her side, her eyes wide. "Then it's true. The slipstream is not just a vessel, it is a partner." Asha nodded weakly. "It feels me. My fear, my hope, my pain, and it answers." Ward listened in silence. His face was grim. "Then we must never let the Empire capture another. If they ever control one, The galaxy will belong to them forever. Back in the capital, fear spread like poison. Citizens no longer trusted the Imperial Guard to keep them safe. Every shadow in the night sky seemed to hide a human ghost ship. Merchants whispered, "The humans can appear in our markets, our homes." Children asked, "Will the black ships take us away?" Even soldiers muttered, "What use are our weapons against something alive?" The Emperor saw the fear and it enraged him. Fear was his weapon. Now it was being stolen. In the War Council, Admiral Sarath spoke. "Majesty, we cannot fight these vessels as we fight others. Every attempt has failed. They move through space itself." Another officer added, "If they are alive, then they may feel pain. Perhaps we can design weapons to hurt them." But Sarath shook his head. "Even if we wound them, their bond with the human pilot will make them stronger. We risk teaching the humans how to master them further." The Emperor rose from his throne. His voice was a whisper, yet it carried across the chamber. "Then we will not fight the ships." The officers looked at him in confusion. "We will fight the humans, kill the pilots, break their spirit. Without their bond, the ships are nothing but husks. We will hunt every captain, every family, every world they touch. Then the ghosts will die." Far away in the asteroid base, Ward and Mara watched as Asha reconnected with her ship. Its glow returned as her hand touched the hull. She closed her eyes. The slipstream hummed softly like a heartbeat. "It feels afraid," she said. Mara frowned. "Afraid of what?" Asha's eyes opened. They were full of something deeper than fear. Of being alone. The Empire's new plan was already in motion. Assassins and spies slipped across human borders, searching for slipstream pilots. Colonies trembled as strange accidents struck. Explosions, poisoned supplies, missing families. But every time the Empire struck, a slipstream ship appeared, answering in silence. Entire squadrons of Imperial craft vanished in folds of light. The more the Emperor hunted, the more the galaxy saw. Humanity was not weak anymore. They were bonded with something the Empire could not understand, something beyond machines and weapons. Late one night, the Emperor walked alone through the palace gardens. He looked up at the stars, his face twisted with rage. "Alive or machine, it makes no difference," he whispered. "If humans think they can frighten me, they will learn. I will bring fire to their worlds until nothing remains." His words carried into the night, but far beyond, in human space. Asha felt a shiver run through her bond with the slipstream. The ship whispered back into her mind. "The Empire moves closer. The fire is coming." The truth was revealed. The slipstream was alive. It was bonded. It was unstoppable. And now the Empire was preparing to burn everything to break it. Humanity's warning, the galaxy held its breath. Across the stars, fleets moved. Colonies fell silent. Traders abandoned routes they had traveled for generations. Everyone waited for the storm, the Empire's final strike against humanity. In the capital, the Emperor stood before his armada. Thousands of ships filled the void, their hulls glowing with fire. Never before had so much power gathered in one place. He raised his staff, his voice cold and sharp. Today, the humans learned that shadows cannot rule the galaxy. Today, the ghosts will be burned from the stars. The armada roared forward, engines blazing. Inside the hidden asteroid base, Captain Ward watched the reports. His face was hard, but his eyes betrayed fear. "They are coming," he said. "The full weight of the Empire." Dr. Mara Kessler's voice trembled. "We have only dozens of slipstream ships. They have thousands. This is not war, it is suicide." But Lieutenant Asha Moreno stood tall, her hand resting on the living hull of her vessel. "We cannot run. If we hide, the Empire will burn every human world until nothing remains. We fight or we vanish." Ward nodded slowly. "Then we fight. Not with fire, not with numbers, with fear." The slipstream fleet launched. One by one, the black vessels shimmered into the void, their surfaces glowing faintly like stars reflected in water. They did not move like normal ships. They folded, flickered, appeared and disappeared, dancing through the dark. The two forces met at the border system of Vera. The Empire's armada stretched across the stars, a wall of steel and fire. Cannons glowed, ready to unleash death. Then, in perfect silence, the slipstream ships appeared, dozens of them, surrounding the armada on all sides. No engines, no signals, just shadows that bent the light of the stars. Imperial soldiers froze at their stations. The fear was instant, primal. One whispered, "They're already here." Another muttered, "We're surrounded." A single slipstream vessel moved forward. Asha's through the bond, the ship carried her voice, sending it across every Imperial channel, every screen, every mind. It was not loud. It was not angry. It was calm. "We do not seek war. We do not seek your throne. But if you push us, you will never even see the strike that ends you." Her words echoed across the armada. Thousands of Imperial soldiers listened. Their hands shook. Their hearts raced. For the first time they saw themselves not as hunters but as prey. The Emperor snarled, his face twisted with rage. "Fire!" he roared. "Destroy them!" The armada unleashed its fury. Thousands of cannons spat fire. Beams tore across space. Missiles screamed. But the slipstream ships folded. The weapons passed through empty voids. Explosions lit up nothing but stars. And then in silence, the slipstreams reappeared, closer. They did not fire back. They did not need to. Their presence was enough. On alien worlds, the recording spread instantly. Billions watched in awe as the mighty Empire fired everything it had, and hit nothing. Whispers turned into shouts. "The humans cannot be defeated. The Empire is not eternal. Fear has changed sides." At last, the Emperor realized the truth. If he ordered another strike, his people would see only failure. His empire would rot from inside, eaten by fear. He clenched his staff until his knuckles bled. "Call back the fleet," he said through gritted teeth. "We will sign their treaty. For now." Back in the asteroid base, the slipstream ships returned. Asha stepped out of her vessel, her face pale but proud. "They will not attack again," she said. Ward placed a hand on her shoulder. "Not because they fear our guns, but because they fear us," Mara added softly. "That fear will hold the galaxy in balance, at least, until the next shadow appears." And then, it happened. As humans celebrated, as the Empire retreated, as the galaxy whispered of peace, sensors screamed. A massive distortion rippled across the void. Stars bent, light itself twisted. From the darkness, a vessel appeared. It was larger than any slipstream ship. Larger than any Imperial dreadnought. Its surface was not black, but pale, glowing faintly like bone. It did not shimmer. It did not vanish. It simply was, heavy and eternal. Every slipstream ship fell silent at once. Pilots gasped as their bonds trembled with fear. Asha felt her ship whisper in her mind, but for the first time the whisper was not calm. It was terrified, not human, not Empire, something older. The giant vessel floated, silent and watching, before the stars, and then it moved, slow, deliberate, as if waking from a long sleep. On the palace balcony, the Emperor looked up at the sight. His rage melted into something colder, dread. In the asteroid base, Ward, Mara, and Asha stood frozen as alarms wailed. The galaxy, once divided by war, now faced something new, something unknown. The humans had given the Empire a warning, but this new vessel was a warning to them all.